Today, we're diving into one of the most legendary weapons of World War II, the MG42, a machine gun with a terrifying reputation that still echoes through history. What makes it infamous? The chilling stories behind its creation, its devastating power, and the psychological toll it took on the soldiers who operated it. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this weapon became known as Hitler's buzzsaw, and why some of its operators went mad after witnessing its destruction. As World War I ended, warfare was drastically changing. With Germany's shift to blitzkrieg tactics, there was a need for a lighter, more efficient weapon to keep up with their rapid advances. The MG08, with its heavy water cooling system and 88 pounds weight, just couldn't cut it anymore. So, German engineers set out to create something better, and in 1930 they introduced the MG13, which, though lighter, had a fatal flaw. It could only shoot for about 2.5 seconds before running out of ammunition. But it was in 1934 that Germany revolutionized machine gun design with the MG34. This was the first true general-purpose machine gun. Capable of firing up to 900 rounds per minute, it was a significant step forward. However, it came at a high cost, expensive to produce and requiring 150 man-hours to assemble each gun. But then, in 1942, German engineers tackled an even bigger challenge: build a machine gun that was deadly, reliable, and easy to mass produce. They needed a weapon that could fire 20-25 rounds per second and be cheap to make. What they created was nothing short of a masterpiece, the MG42. With its stamped metal parts, it was cheaper and faster to produce, cutting down production time to just 75 man-hours. The result? A machine gun that could fire 1,200 rounds per minute, double the fire rate of any other Allied machine gun. But the MG42 had its quirks, a tendency for bolt bounce that could lead to catastrophic failures. Still, in just 3 years, over 23,000 MG42s were produced, cementing its role as the primary killing tool for German forces. The Americans, with their dark sense of humor, quickly gave it a nickname, the buzzsaw, a terrifyingly accurate description of the weapon's fearsome sound as it tore through the battlefield. But despite its reputation, German propaganda downplayed the MG42's effectiveness. That didn't fool the battle-hardened soldiers who knew the real story. The MG42 wasn't just a weapon, it was a symbol of relentless destruction. But what was it like to be part of the crew operating this beast? Well, the MG42 wasn't a one-man job, it required a team. A German infantry squad typically consisted of 10 men, and at its core was the MG42 machine gunner, known as Schutu. Positioned at the center of the squad, the gunner operated the machine gun, with the assistant gunner and ammunition carrier supporting him. The gunner was the squad's powerhouse, carrying the weapon, a sidearm, and a 50-round drum. The assistant gunner had an even more crucial role. He kept the gun running, feeding ammo, clearing jams, and swapping out barrels when they overheated. Imagine firing a gun that required a fresh barrel every 250 rounds. Because the barrel could literally glow red from the heat, this meant every 10 seconds counted in combat, as a quick barrel swap could mean life or death. The squad would typically carry 1,800 rounds of ammunition, along with grenades and a tripod. The tripod made the MG42 deadly from a fixed position, while in a more mobile role, the gun could be fired from a soldier's back. But make no mistake, the gun had an immense recoil, making it a challenging weapon to control, especially in the heat of battle. The training for these crews was grueling. They had to master precise trigger discipline to ensure they didn't waste ammo. When under heavy fire, a fresh barrel was the key to keeping the MG42 operational, but even that wasn't foolproof. If the barrel change wasn't quick enough, the gun could overheat and fail catastrophically. But the impact of the MG42 wasn't just tactical. The psychological toll it took on its crews was real. Imagine mowing down wave after wave of enemy soldiers, only to be haunted by the carnage. Some soldiers who operated the MG42 never recovered from what they saw. The war wasn't just a battle of bullets, it was a battle of the mind. And here's a story you might not expect. In Belgium, a US soldier, Private First Class Leonard Linay, stumbled upon an abandoned MG42 after a battle. Curious, he bribed a German prisoner with 2 packs of cigarettes to teach him how to disassemble it. What followed was a strange twist of fate. Linné mailed the weapon back to the States in pieces, and it stayed in his family for decades, ultimately donated to a museum in 2016. The MG42 didn't just shape the battlefield, it shaped the course of history. By the time of the D-Day landings, it was already infamous. German soldiers like Heinrich Seal, stationed at Omaha Beach, fired thousands of rounds from their MG42S, mowing down hundreds of Allied troops. But it wasn't just on the front lines. The MG42 was also a tool of oppression, used to crush resistance movements in occupied territories. In Yugoslavia, for instance, it was used to punish civilians for partisan attacks. 500 innocent lives were lost in one brutal retaliation. And the Allies weren't immune either. Captured MG42S became highly prized, particularly by resistance groups. The US even attempted to reverse engineer the MG42, but their prototype, the T-24, could never match the original's firing rate or reliability. Today, the MG42's legacy endures. Though modified and rechambered, it's still in service under the name MG3. The gun's design influenced the creation of some of the most famous machine guns in modern history, including the American M60. The MG42 was more than just a weapon. It was a force of nature, shaping not only the battles of WWII, but the machines that would follow. But it also left a dark mark on the minds of those who used it. The horrors it caused were not only physical, but deeply psychological. The chilling sound of the buzzsaw still haunts the pages of history and the men who wielded it.